What is up, everybody? I am chilling in my backyard again, and I've got a new idea. It might seem like I'm just coming up with new ideas for new series and never following through on them, but while it might seem like that, we have not seen how the future will unfold. But today I am starting a new series, and this new series is not an idea of my own because I got this idea from a person on Twitter. So what I'm going to be doing is reading my taylorwise tweets, and I'm going to be expounding on them. I'm going to be talking about them a little more, and I think that's going to be useful for the listener, for you, because maybe you had some questions or maybe even some objections to what I've tweeted. But what you can do is get a little bit more information on it here. Maybe you'll become clear and you'll see things the way that I see them. So today we're going to be doing this tweet. Being unique is a great responsibility because generic advice that works for average people won't work for you. Forge your own path. Hashtag taylorwise. And I'm going to be talking about that tweet right now. So what does it mean to be unique? I think that in our society, when we use this word unique, we automatically think of celebrating uniqueness. Everybody's unique, yay. But I think that being unique is actually quite a responsibility, and it may have a more sinister side than what could have been anticipated. And when I mean sinister, I just mean something that's much deeper and much more rich, something that we should take seriously. Because when we talk about being unique, we're saying that literally no one else has or possesses this characteristic that we have. So everyone's face is different. Everyone's body type, everyone's shape and size is completely different, like a snowflake. And everybody's different and unique. But the fact that everyone's different and unique is not the thing to be celebrated. That's fine. But what's to be celebrated is when you can identify that uniqueness and then bring it to the full manifestation into reality that uniqueness needs to be. So right now, I might be unique in the fact that I'm the only person who's going to invent the next bulldozer that's going to be able to build the ground for a spaceship that we're going to need to leave the Earth in 5 years. I highly doubt that that's the case. But if I'm the only person that could conceive of that bulldozer, then I'm unique, and therefore humanity needs me to really do some deep meditation and figure out what it is that I can offer this world. And when you think of great folks like Martin Luther King or Gandhi, any of the US presidents, there was something that made them just fantastically unique, and they figured out what it was. Thomas Sanders is somebody who's fantastically unique, and he knows what he's good at. He knows what makes him different, and he leverages those skills to really help people, and I really admire that, and that's somebody that most people know, so that's great. In the tweet, we talked about advice and how advice for the average person may not be useful for you. Assuming you're unique, then that means that some part of you is not average, and so you need to think of yourself as possibly created by God to be something that no one else could be. God created you specifically for a purpose that no one else could fulfill. And that seems like an idea to be like, yay, God created me. But it's also an idea like, oh crap, if I don't do what I'm supposed to do, what's going to happen? And if Martin Luther King hadn't done what he did, potentially someone else could have come along and done something similar, but this country would be a much more worse off than it is now, for obvious reasons. And so when we think about being unique, overall my thesis is just consider it more deeply and think about it more as a responsibility, as something to be taken seriously, and figure out what it is. It's not completely obvious what makes you unique. I think when you look in the mirror, you obviously see what makes you unique. Usually it's an idea or a concept that only you are going to be able to come to. Or it's a way of being nice to people and having previous experiences that only you can have. And then if you see someone who's having a bad time and they're having the exact same bad time that you've had, then you may be the only person equipped to be able to help that person out and get them out of the depression or anxiety that they're going through. So that's really what I mean by that tweet. I think that there are general bits of advice that can work for a lot of people, like don't eat yellow snow. Shaquille O'Neal, very unique individual. I don't care if you're Shaquille O'Neal, you still can't consume human urine. That's not a statement that I was anticipating making in this cast, but it's nonetheless very true. But if there was there's advice like don't take too many risks, don't do things that are gonna put your body in harm or your finances at risk. That's sound advice for the average person who's just gonna go work at a job and retire one day. But you're not average. You're unique, and you have something within you that may necessitate some risk taking in order to get out. You may have to get your hands a little dirty, and that doesn't mean you hurt anyone or you do anything immoral, but it means that you're going to do something that is painful for a little while. You're going to do something that maybe you don't like. You have to get out of your comfort zone. But in the end, what comes of that, what comes of your suffering and your endurance and your uniqueness is something that this world would never have unless you put in the hard work to get it. I mean, I could go on and on about the things that this world wouldn't have if people hadn't identified their uniqueness and then manifested it into reality. The Eiffel Tower is a great example. Mr. Eiffel, right? Mr. Eiffel would never have made that if he had been locked up in his room all day, worrying about things, worrying about what he'll never be, or worrying about what could happen to him. And so Paris would probably not be what it is today. So that is a very specific example, and that's okay because we're talking about things that are specific. We're talking about things that make us unique. So I don't want to be completely quoting Ray Shmurda. I don't want to be completely quoting rap music here, but it is important to take your own advice.
Keep your 2 cents. Hey, take your own advice.
And that means sometimes you have to figure out what are the obstacles that are in your way from manifesting this idea or this uniqueness into reality, and then eliminating those obstacles. And some people would say, oh, don't worry, don't waste your time trying to do that. It's tried to been done many times and you'll never be able to do it. Don't listen to them. If this is something you feel like you really need to do, then you need to not take their advice. That advice that's for the average person. You need to take the advice that is within saying to do it, and then darn well better do it. So that's my 2 cents on my 2 cents. That's an expansion on my tweet, and I hope that you all gained from that and enjoyed it to some extent. And I appreciate Shaquille O'Neal for existing, so I could use him as an example, as well as Mr. Eiffel, also a very, very helpful character for this lesson. So thank you all, and I look forward to continuing expanding on my tweets, and I hope that you all have a great day. Like and subscribe. Make some thoughtful comments about this. I really am enjoying what people are saying in those comment sections. So, adios.